Hey Technofreaks, Odin here, starting up a new breakdown series for Guilty Gear Strive. And today we kick things off with the bare basics in our beginner's guide to Strive. That is the best we can do. So if we're going to do things, we're going to have to do it right, and that is explaining how movement is read in Arc System Works games. So normally we have crouch, forward, back, jump, and everything in between. But in games like Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball FighterZ, this is done by the numerical annotation system, where each direction is given a number. This is from left to right, and it goes as so. Crouching movements is 1, 2, 3, standing movements is 4, 5, 6, and aerial based movement is 7, 8, 9. So if someone was to say Ryu's fireball was 2, 3, 6, that is a quarter circle forward motion. Now for simplistic terms, I will just be referring to forward, back, crouch, jump. And the only reason I'm putting it on here is because a lot of other videos don't seem to mention this. And they assume you know what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 actually means. Yeah. Now for movement itself, double tapping forward or backwards will result in a dash. This can be done in the air as well, but it's all dependent on the character you pick. Big boys like Potemkin don't get to dash at all. Same with the ability to double jump, which if you jump, you can jump again by doing the same input in the air. Like, I know this is a starter guide, but do we really need to put this level of simplicity in? Okay. The attack buttons are as followed: P for punch, K for kick, S for slash, H for heavy slash, and D for dust attack, which is more or less a super heavy attack. Each attack also has a crouching and aerial variation. Punch and kicks tend to be fast, so are more useful at closer ranges. Slash tends to have a decent range and changes properties if you are point blank with the opponent. Heavy slash is another rangy move, but it hits really hard, and dust attacks get some really interesting properties. When crouching, the dust will act like the Mortal Kombat style sweep, taking the opponent to the floor and giving you a chance to apply some pressure, while the standing version can be held down for a more impactful attack, which if you hold the up button during the slowdown, you will switch stages, almost like you were in the Injustice games, which during this transition you can lay the smack of down and hurt your opponent to get some really meaty damage. Then we have command normals. These tend to be done by pressing forward and one of the attack buttons. Universally, everyone gets a forward punch, which is used to snuff out aerial attacks. The rest are kinda character specific, so we'll go deeper into that when we do the character breakdowns. Now one system I've yet to talk about is the Gatling system. This is Guilty Gear's little baby, where any attack button links to the next. In older games you had things where punch led to kick, which then led to slash, which then led to heavy slash, which then I've gone cross-eyed. But in this game, well, at least from the beta, this wasn't the case. We were limited to punch only linking into command normals, so punch into forward punch, kick only leading into dust attacks, and slash only linking to heavy slash. Now this does limit the creativity and fluidness from the old games, but it still works well, and you won't really notice a thing. Then we have special attacks. These are signature attacks that can be anything dependent on the character and take a slightly more intricate input, like the 2, 3, 6 quarter circle input I mentioned at the beginning. And again, better to go into depth on these when we are doing the actual characters. Now all these moves have the ability to counter hit, which is if you interrupt or punish the opponent, you will get a counter hit. And depending on the attack, these counter hits change the move's properties, adding stun, knocking the opponent to the air when they normally wouldn't, things like that. So the best thing to do is hop into training mode, stick the counter hit setting on, and see what does what, which is a great way to learn. Now a wise man once said you can only dish out as good as you take, and if you're taking more than you're dishing out, well, that ain't good. So defense is a big thing, and to defend is pretty simple. Hold back to block high, and hold crouch and back to block low. Doing so will completely lessen the damage you take and allow for retaliation, but being too defensive has its risks, which come in the form of the risk meter. When you defend an attack, a little purple bar begins to fill up for each hit you block. The higher the meter, the more damage you will take when they break through, punishing you for being too defensive, when you probably shouldn't have been, because hesitation is defeat after all. This punish also flows into your super meter or tension gauge, where being too cowardly can straight up delete the meter you have, which is not good because tension is one of the most important things in Guilty Gear. You see, your tension meter controls the game. It allows you to amplify your regular block into a flawless block, completely negating any damage you would normally receive and forcing more space between you and your opponent. This can be literally life or death. Tension is also required for your ultimate moves, which are called overdrives. Big, flashy, high damaging moves that are again character specific. And the most key use for tension in this game are Roman cancels, the skittles of the fighting game mechanics. And with this we've come to the less beginner friendly section of the guide. So to put it the easiest way, a Roman cancel cancels whatever the hell you are doing to allow for a change in tactics. As the Skittles joke referenced, they are all color coded. Roman cancelling when you have just landed a hit will give you the red Roman cancel, a combo starter / extension tool using a shockwave to launch the opponent for more damage. Realistically, you use this to extend the distance you travel, or if you want to switch sides if you are close enough to the corner. Roman cancelling before an attack connects will grant you the purple Roman cancel, allowing you to potentially move with an attack to keep up pressure. You can also use this to recover from a missed attack a lot faster. As an example, this move here would normally leave me in danger of taking damage, but I purple cancel and was able to keep the offense going. Roman cancelling while defending will grant you the yellow Roman cancel, and this is just a breaker, pushing the opponent away so that you have that moment to take a breath and think about what you're going to do next. Then finally there's the blue Roman cancel, which is pretty much the game taunting you for Roman cancelling when there's nothing going on. But jokes aside, this is what I call the bullet time cancel, as it slows down the opponent momentarily, allowing you to take that moment to gain the upper hand. They go for a jump, you blue Roman cancel, and then you have more time to hit them out of what they were doing. Now both Roman cancels and overdrives use up half your tension meter, so you will always have to make that choice of, do I hold on for a big attack or do I cancel what I'm doing to gain the upper hand? One of the last things I'm going to talk about is burst. This is the final meter based option that you have access to, and at the start of the round you will always have full burst, and it's basically a full-fledged combo breaker, a get out of jail card. They hit you, you burst, they get pushed to the other side of the screen, and everything is reset back to the beginning. Now granted, with the pace that health depletes in this game, timing that burst is critical. Holding onto it can be the clincher between you and your enemy taking the win, but same goes for them. And if you use it at the beginning of a match, you may have enough time to get a second burst, but that's not a given. Once again, it's a choice that you can only gain with experience. Finally, I feel I have to talk about the wall. Bring on the wall! So like in most fighting games, the corner is where the most damage is dealt. Rule 1 of fighting games, always get them to the corner. But in Strive, the wall of that corner is very brittle, and too many hits will have the opponent get stuck on the wall, and then if they are hit again, they will go through said wall and switch stages exactly like they were doing in Justice. Now you will get compensated for this loss of corner with a bit of extra damage to that last combo, but it's not ideal as you have once again opened up the stage. If you are okay with that, then no biggie. but if you want to keep that corner, you will have to let them off the wall, which could be risky as they could end up turning the tides and sending you through said wall. Realistically, as you're just starting out, this won't matter too much. You are going to get some decent damage. But once again, that type of thought process is more for a much more experienced fighter. So as my final bit of info, help, whatever you want to call it, the tea's brewing, all I can say is do the missions. These will teach you a jack ton of things that people who make these guides like myself will forget to mention. And also just have fun. A big part of the way of getting better is to 1, have fun in the game. So jumping in and having a bit of a mash around with characters and getting that feel of what you are doing, then going through training and missions will help hone your craft. And that's it for the guide. I really hope it helped, and if it did, let me know by liking, sharing and subscribing. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Twitch to join in the fun when we stream. And finally, tune in next time where we begin the character guides with none other than Soul Bad Guy. But until that day, this has been Tek'S. Stay safe, claim skulls, and let's rock. Know the smell of the game.